Thursday. It's always this good. Top left-hand side, our blue Terran player. Give it up if you're cheering on Cure. He is going to be taking on the red Zerg in the bottom right-hand side, Solar. As we kick off into this first game of the day. Best of threes all the way throughout today until we get to that best of 5 grand final. I hope you guys are feeling good. I hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone in the chat is feeling Christmassy. Hope you all got some good gifts. Hope you all had some good days. So, yeah. With that said, we are pretty much ready to ourselves to kind of get this going, get this started up, and see what's going to happen with some StarCraft 2 today. We did a little bit of casting yesterday, just a couple of replays. But today, you know, this is really a full-on tournament again. And then just in case you're wondering, tomorrow I'm having a day off. Finally a full day off, and then we'll be back double streaming Saturday and Sunday because we're going to have a combination of China Team Championship preseason and WardiTV Team League. So it's going to be busy, busy, busy. So, as we start this up, get this running. First Overlord is going to be out into the center of the map. It's a hatch gas pool, so no pool first, no early aggression here from Solar. So we'll not go into a super fast kind of pool or any kind of lings across the map here. And that's just going to mean that Kyo should get this command center up without any real problems. As he goes into his Reaper, we're watching for obviously Factory in the second gas. And then that will tell us a lot about maybe how Kyo wants to go. But this is a pretty late... He actually went Rax gas, so he's pretty slow on gas here. So he's probably looking at making a Marine before he builds the reactor. So he'll go Reaper into Marine, and then he'll be able to afford the factory, then the reactor, and they'll kind of line up. Because in a way, it's no point kind of building the factory right on time, because factory and reactors build at the same time. And so, you know, you don't really need your factory to be coming down exactly on 100 gas if your reactor isn't ready to start just yet anyways. Otherwise, you're just going to have dead time with the factory. And that's what people have figured out as TVZ progressed over the years. That idea of like, oh my god, you know, like, I can add an extra Marine in. Like, reactors are slightly faster to build than factories, but you don't have to sort of, you know, because of it, the way it works out nowadays, you can just go Reaper Marine. Off of Rax gas, if you go gas Rax, you can have that gas earlier. And then, of course, you have the factory much sooner, and then, you know, the reactor can come down at the same time, more or less, and then you do kind of want to skip the Marine, so... Just going to be seeing this Reaper kind of dancing around the edge as a creep tumor will go down. Now our command center finishing up, and our Zergling speed on the way out here from Solo as well, so getting that Zergling speed up and running. Solo just getting the third hatch up and rolling, and a couple of first Hellions now on the way out. It is second gas, so we are going to see a starport, and we are looking at maybe a fusion core. Hero has still enjoyed putting out some battlecruiser openings, but I tell you what, he's actually still making singular Marines. And oftentimes when you see these singular Marines, it's actually an armory and a Hellbat attack with a medevac. So let's see, if he's just going to build one more, maybe that's not so much the case. But if he builds another one again now, just keep an eye on this. As the starport finishes, Black tell us, okay, it's just going to be a fusion core. So not any kind of a Hellbat attack, just going to be the fusion core. I mean, maybe Hellbats with the battlecruisers later, but it is going to be a battlecruiser-based opening. Going to see there's a couple of Hellions going in after the drones and a couple of workers going down. So not bad, but also it does cost you a Hellion, right? So you know, you lose one of your Hellions already. The Reaper Scout in the main base at least getting a good idea of what's going on, etc. As you see, 2 more Hellions getting by. Well, here's found now 5 drones for 3 Hellions. I'm not sure how much I really like that. It doesn't feel like too much damage, right? I mean, obviously, with this sort of style, you're looking to probably keep on building Hellions, because you're typically going into mech after the battlecruisers. Although, again, we have seen some people playing that one battlecruiser into bio a little bit more often. So it's a little bit kind of intriguing, as we do see SCVs repairing up the Hellion there. And comes over, has a little bit of a run around, Marines patrolling. Command center dropping down, that's just about halfway done, and just going to be seeing 7 more drones on the way out. The Baler Nest dropping down here from Solo as well in the natural, so a lot of build-up right now as you do see this creep tumor. spreading up through to the top side of the map, going out on the map and seeing what's what. Like I said, you keep building Hellions here as Q, so it's not super terrible to lose them for less drones in this scenario, because you're still keeping the map control by building more. If you're going into Bio or something, you can't really afford to lose 3 Hellions for 5 drones, because then you don't do enough damage and you just give up your map control. And you can't keep building Hellions because then your barracks are delayed and, you know, Bio doesn't look good in that scenario. First BC teleports in, there's another on the way, so we are just going to be seeing mech as a follow-up to this, and the extra factories starting to drop down as Solo's just going to go straight into his Spire, so get those Corruptors up and running, ready to deal with the BCs, because that's going to be a pretty good little bop from the Hellions to help pick off a lot of the Lings, so these drones on third base definitely in trouble. His BC has a lot of health left on it, I have to say, so that looks as though that could still be dangerous. All the Queens over towards the third base. And that BC is going to make a re-entry up on the bottom side. No Fusion Core upgrade into Yamato Cannon just yet, so watching out for that as we see an Armory, double Armory, Engineering Bay dropping down. He's actually going to be able to kill the Extractor with this Battle Cruiser, which is annoying, right? You lose some of your gas, especially when you don't have all of your gases in the game just yet. You know, this is, you know, a gas which would put you down to full gas when you're trying to build Corruptors. It's not so fun. But good transfusions from Solar, keeps it alive. And in the end, that obviously maybe would have been better if you had just dove in for a couple of drones rather than just being happy picking away at the Extractor. I mean, if you just kill the Extractor, you know, it's actually, if you actually kill the Extractor, I think it's a good deal. I guess in a way it keeps better health on this BC because you didn't push into the Spore Crawler either. So I'm not saying, I'm still not convinced it's a terrible idea, it's just depending on what you want to do for the BC. Obviously, Kyo wants to keep his BC on the map here somewhat, hence why he doesn't want to move it into Spore Crawler range so often. He's going to get the Extractor now as well, so in the end he gets it. Maybe can deny this other one a little bit too. You can see the Queen is obviously putting out some damage. It's going to be time to get out of that, and he does have the teleport back because he's kept this alive so long. And the second BC just flying across the map, so he's going to have teleport away, which he's going to need because Corruptors are going to be out. He doesn't even have Yamatos. He's not even going to get a Yamato cannon off before he has to teleport back home. So that's going to be a little bit painful as well. As the scan drops down, these Queens are able to push the Hellions back over the left-hand side. A couple of creep teamers starting to come down as well. It's a lot of Hellions going down as they just fight these Queens. And I mean, they shouldn't do this much, right? You know, that should have been a transfusion from Solar. He should have been able to pay attention to that at some stage and realize that Queen might die. Right, it's not like you have to transfuse it at the last second. If it's half health, then you realize, okay, I need to go back and macro. Transfuse it then go back and go do whatever else you're doing. So, a little mistake from Solo there. That's one of those things you don't expect to see at this sort of level of play. But they do, you know, it's the sort of thing that also does slip through the cracks every now and then as well. Cryptus just up to the top as the Hellions still running around. You can find a few of those Lings, but there's the Roaches, of course, they're going to try and halt the progress on this. As Solar, missiles and melee upgrades, so no carapace at all, and we've seen him going into the infestation pit. I mean, this early kind of feels like it has to be Swarm Hosts. What else are you going to be successful with, right? I mean, setting up into a few infestors this early is just very risky. You don't really have much use for a Hive unless you're going to play just Ling Roach Viper, which isn't going to be very good. So this should, I mean, I guess there's Corruptors too, but this should just be a Swarm Host on the way out from Solar when he finds himself a few resources to get that row. So he's making progress on that, as we do see some creep tumors coming out into the middle. Hive on the way down. Over in the main base, and it is just going to be Hive, so I am very mistaken. I did not think that was going to be the case here. At all. So I am really quite surprised about that, actually. Hive it is. What does he do with Hive? Does he just go straight into Grid Aspire and just try and play Ling Roach into Brood Lord very quickly? Yes, so there goes the 3 Yamato cannons off on Corruptors, so that's the damage that those BCs will get done pretty much every time they have a teleport, every 70 seconds or so. You just can't really stop that from happening. Smart servers on the way up, couple of Thors on the way out, Siege Tank on the way down. The Thor's a nice addition because I think, you know, Kyo's realizing, well, you know, there's always that potential of going in towards Brood Lords. And not just that, but even just against the Corruptors, a few Thors will go a long way to helping out. And if you can help, you know, keep the BCs alive, because, for example, say Solar kept making Corruptors here a bit more aggressively, and he went across the map, those BCs are in a lot of trouble when Corruptors show, but with a couple of Thors underneath, they're actually in so much better of a position, because those Thors should be able to push the Corruptors away. As we do see more Roaches of Solar. Down to the bottom left-hand side, Hellions are picking up a couple of Creep Tumors up on the top right, and they're going to keep advancing forwards to get a few more as well. And they're going to get all the way around the back of this mineral line here. So already, one drone going down. The Zerglin is going to get picked away at pretty quickly as well. Those Lings coming all the way around. Really good surround in the end. And that is a full cleanup on the Hellions. Greater Spire still coming in behind that mineral line. Just going to see the Queens on the bottom side spreading out a little bit. Some Corruptors around the top. Going to be some extra command centers dropping down here from Kira as well. Things, Banes, Ravagers. Also continuing to move around the map and trying to see where things can go. A couple of Zerglings getting picked off as we do have the extra Spine Crawlers building up around the map as well. And I mean, you see the creep spread all over the place. That's going to be Solar's big advantage, right? It's going to be hard for Kira to push, but I don't think Kira's in an immediate kind of need to push anywhere. And he's maxed out now, but if he goes, you know, he's going to just take it slow, siege up, pick off creep tumors. He could maybe make his way to the top right and deny, you know, upcoming base. But in general, we are kind of locked into a longer game here based on what these guys are getting up to and based on sort of the styles that they're playing. First Brood's now starting to build here from Solar. Here, I mean, a good amount of Thors, right? I think 8 Thors is a pretty reasonable number. Plus, you've got those BCs as well. Don't know what he's going to use them for yet. If he'll teleport them into a fight, or if he's just going to teleport them back home once they've harassed a little bit again. For now, you can just see that this is just going to be creep cleaning from Kira, so getting rid of as much of this creep as possible. And I mean, he's getting rid of a lot of it, right? It's going to go from past the halfway point to, you know, back along. And as Yamato's going to land, it doesn't even have to use the teleport there, which is really nice. So is we going to be able to keep those BCs on the map for a moment or two longer? Yeah, Silverbush 4 is just backed up by tanks. It's so hard to deny these Thors from just coming in and cleaning up your creep spread. There's just not really any kind of sustainable way to do that. And, well, up the top there's Creep Tumor or 2 that's still moving around, so there's still some progress being made. I love that this is just with like 3 tanks as well, by the way. A lot of tanks left at home, so no counter-attack potential for Solar, really. Maybe up here there is, but he's actually being pushed all the way down towards the kind of bottom base. And now he's actually going to have to make a bit of a stand over here. Well, let's see if he's got the numbers and the units to do that. Obviously, typically you would have thought, oh, Broodlords, but this many Thors already? You have such a good read on what Solar was doing, so that preparation from earlier in the game is really huge here. That's a really nice Blinding Cloud or 2, I'll tell you that, though. Because those Blinding Clouds, what they're allowing him to do is it keeps the Broodlords really safe. And now pretty much all the Thors have gone in. This is actually a very one-sided battle in Solar's favor. DC is getting pushed away using their teleports. This one comes up to harass, but yeah, that's going to be a full cleanup. And losing that many Thors, that's difficult to replace. As Kira will start to. Well, that was not a good fight for him at all. Another BC down the bottom side here. Just going to go in after a few more drones. So you see this BC going to turn, going to fire. Gonna still get more drones. I mean, in the end, getting 12 workers, not bad at all. But look at these Broods pushing over, and remember, these Thors, if they get picked away as they're spawning, they're never going to get into the numbers to properly gather up and shut down those Broods, although there's not really any anti-air here, so even Vikings could maybe have something to say about this. Let's have a look. As we do have the first factory there getting picked off. Well, here come the Corruptors, so maybe the Vikings won't have much to say about this. As we're going to be seeing the army of Kira continuing down through the bottom. Solar will back away for the moment. Both of these players have expended their bank here, so both of them haven't spent that, as we do see extra Broods coming out. Spire dropping in from Solar on the right-hand side. A little bit more creep going in up the top, so spreading that creep out. Again, extra Thor is going to be popping out as we speak. But so is a lot more Broodlords, right? We just added on a whole bunch of this here. So this army from Solar is 14 Broodlords, 11 Corruptors. And then on the ground, not really anything of note. 28 Lings, and that is all. You know, there's a Roach starting up here and there as well. But yeah, really not very much. There's a few Hellions will cruise around the map. I mean, it's difficult to stop these at the moment. Difficult to stop these at the moment as you see the Couple queens continue to press around. And that's pretty much the only defense you have against these Hellions, right? A few infestors on the way as well. I mean, they're not really ideal in these sort of scenarios either, though. Vikings gonna land a few of these creep teamers going down. This army gonna continue to press on forwards here. Maybe a bit more creep could be in some trouble. Obviously, Solar will bring the Broodlords up to try and defend this. Flank goes down. Still got this kind of Broodlord army coming across. Tanks starting to fire, and the Vikings are going to get rid of a few of these Disruptors already. Parasite Bomb goes in on the Vikings in the sky, and we do see a couple Neuro Parasites on the Thors as well, taking those numbers away. I mean, Kyo doesn't do anything in terms of splitting away these Vikings. The Viper goes down for the final shots here. All of these Thors are going down, just too many Broodlings. However, there's not really much anti-air left over, so these Vikings are still going crazy. No new Thors showing up. Fungal Growth's dropping down, but he will continue to clean out these Broodlords. So Solar is losing so much here in the skies. And man, these Vikings are just shredding Corruptors as well. It's another nice Fungal or two. Infestors, if nothing else, are sort of saving the day here, because honestly, it did feel as though this was just a straight up push through and win for Cure. Now, he does have these Thors which have to back away. Those reinforcements were, by the way, crazy, because what they did, they stopped the Queens coming into the fight. So they stopped the Queens from showing up, and obviously that's huge, because if those Queens had showed up, then that's that's a whole bunch of extra kills on those Vikings a lot faster. That's a lot more Broodlord saves. So Cure takes a really good fight here, and Solar is going to be struggling to remax while Cure is already there, pretty much ready to go again, taking an extra base up to this top side. Planetary Fortress morphing in, and as that Planetary Fortress comes online, all of a sudden you are seeing a very, very decent scenario for yourself here. You see 6 drones going down, the Lings and the Banes down towards this Hellion, and we will see that's 9 drones picked up. I mean, not bad damage still as well from Cure, right? So he's still putting out eco damage here. Like I said, he's maxed out, he's ready to go. He'll start pushing now, his other reinforcements will trail across and help out when they get here. As for now, he's just going to find a few drones, and this base is likely to go down. Solar has just started taking this base on the left side, as every single map on every single base on Simulacrum is now about to be fully taken. Apart from this one, which gets denied. So we really are kind of just set up, if Solar can survive, to just go into the later stages here. But Cure, look at the economy. 83 works have brought him up to a 3k bank after remaxing. And so Cure just has the money, and he's just going to start pressing forwards right now. The Vikings just want to stay a little bit spread to try and minimize the fungal growth damage. Those infestors are the scariest thing in this Zerg army at the moment. You got Parasites coming down, some of the Thors, but the Vikings are going unanswered for, so the Broodlords are being picked off, and as soon as those Broods are down, the Infestors are not going to stand a chance on their own on the ground. I mean, a few more Neuroparasites and these Infestors really are making value happen. But again, here comes the last couple of Broodlords finally dropping down, and that's something you can't really rebuild from his Solar, right? So Solar knows it, you can't replace those Broodlords. Infestors are out of energy, there's no way for them to defend themselves, and that's going to be Cure taking game number 1 of this best of 3 in the Kung Fu Cup today. The player is Cure, Dragon Phoenix Gaming. And the bottom right, our red Zerg player is Solar. Going into game number 2. Surprised he didn't use Blinding Clouds again on the Thors in the last fight because they were so clumped up. I think he only had so many Vipers. He was struggling to rebuild. Remember, he lost his Vipers in the last fight, so A, he didn't have many Vipers, and then he had to make a decision of how he approached it. And I think the decision was not the wrong one to kind of just go and use his Viper energy on the Parasitic Bombers because he had no anti-air. So you have to get rid of those Vikings, otherwise they win the game anyways. And in the end, the Vikings did win the game. But then maybe you should have always... I mean, it's tough, right? Because if you don't neural the Thors, the Broodlords die. So you need to neural the Thors and then try and get rid of the Vikings. That's Solar's thought process there. Obviously, it didn't work out. But that is the idea, because if those Vikings die and you keep the Broodlords alive, then the Broodlords will maybe overwhelm from there, and then, you can keep Neuroparasiting the Thors. If you Neuroparasite the Vikings, the issue is just the Broodlords die too quickly. And you don't have energy to kind of stop that, because the Thors do very well against the Broods as well. So, I feel like you just need to use too many Neurals to control those Vikings for it to be kind of substantial or kind of impactful at all, really. So, yeah. With that said, this game number 2 gets going. So it's always an interesting talking point. I mean, this game number 2 gets going very aggressively. I've been talking over the early pool into Roach Roaring here from Solar, so he is going to get aggressive really early here on Nightshade. Tell you what, Solar has been struggling lately. He's not been that kind of dominant player you expect him to be. You know, I always expect Solar to be like at the very top of the Korean scene. But it's been like, he's had games where he looks good, he's just struggling to string wins together, you know? He's not really had any deep runs in any of these online tournaments. Obviously, there's not much happening offline right now. But it's just been a much quieter year in general from Solar, who, again, hasn't really been in those semi-finals and so on that you expect him to be. You know, Solar's stats when they were both in Splice was like a great rivalry. And then, you know, other than that, what has Solar done? I mean, he did well in the China Team Championship. He can absolutely compete, but elsewhere, stringing some wins together just has not been happening for him. Well, the Roach is on the way out, so let's see if he can pick up a quick victory here in game number 2 as the first few Roaches will move out onto the map and start heading their way up to the top left-hand side. And how many is it going to be? Currently just 4. Will he build more? No, he'll just go with the 4. And obviously he'll be able to get a couple of Ravagers up with this. By the time he gets across, probably 150 gas for 2 Ravagers. Reaper sees it coming, so immediately there's going to be a bit of a switch up here as to what Kyo does. He builds a tech lab on the factory, goes into the reactor, he builds up the starport as well, which I'm sure will... depends. I mean, if the tech lab's on the factory, he might just swap the starport straight onto it. He might just build a Cyclone, and then starport doesn't even need to really build a Banshee or anything defensively. What's he doing? Factory not doing anything yet. Does have a bunker at the front, so he's pretty safe in that regard. And actually with the bunker, maybe he can just get away with building a tank. It's actually not a bad idea, right? Just get the tank up here. Nice little grenade, gonna slow down some of that Roach damage. And the Solar is gonna get a few SCVs here. That's obviously his plan, just to pick off SCVs wherever possible, dodges Corrosive Bow, and that's pretty much it with these Roaches. 5 workers killed, gets 6 in the end, and maybe 7 if he can reach it. He's got it, 7 workers. It's not a bad opening, but obviously you sacrifice a lot to get those Roaches across the map, and he didn't kill a lot from the Terran side of things. He killed his Reaper, so it's the Reaper and 7 SCVs, and that's all that goes down. So yeah, it's kind of expensive for Solar. He takes an 11-ish worker lead, but I would say that overall you're probably pretty happy here as Secure. It's decent defense. Solar's going to be losing an Overlord here as well. You know, resources lost is actually on Q's side. And if you look at income, he had the better income for a while as well. So while Solar takes the worker lead now, that income advantage is only just coming into play. And so far, I think Q has done enough. You know, I think Q is in a good spot. And now pushing across the map, he's going to stop these units from being produced. He's going to play bio this game as well. Extra barracks, impact starting up. There's GCRlings and Marines in the tank down the bottom, and we'll look to try and deny the third base here. So if this tank gets sieged, this is really dangerous because these couple of Roaches are going to get absolutely just trodden on by this siege tank. And that's kind of the issue right now is Solar's trying to figure out a good way to come and fight into this to potentially save the hatchery here. I mean, I don't think there is a good way. He's going to lose both of those Roaches. I mean, this Queen goes down. He might just die to this counterattack. You know, 3 more Roaches in production. He's going to lose the third hatchery, right? So if you lose the third hatchery, you're already in a really poor state as Solar. Now Liberate shows up and is killing drones on the natural as well, so Kua is getting a lot done. Can he target down that Ravager? He's not target firing. He's busy, he might go to Liberator. But you lose the third hatchery, I mean, Solar's going to GG. It seems like a weird time to GG because look at the supplies, right? He's on 50 drones to 40 SCVs. He's up in army. It's the fact that he's just not going to have units. He's not going to have a third hatchery. He's not going to have the production. When Stim and